What if I told you that the lure you trust most, the one you've spent hundreds of dollars on, is completely useless for a third of the year? Today, we're talking about why your go-to soft plastics turn into stiff, dead pieces of plastic in cold water. And by the end of this video, you'll understand the simple science behind it, and you'll know exactly what to look for to keep catching fish when everyone else has packed it in. This is the one thing most lure companies don't want you to know, and it's the hidden reason you're getting skunked on those cold days. Think your favorite brand is immune? Let me know in the comments right now what your go-to soft plastic is, and let's see if it passes the test. We've all been there. It's a cold morning, the air is crisp, and you're full of hope. You tie on that same creature bait or stick bait that worked wonders in June. You've got confidence in it. But cast after cast, nothing happens. We tell ourselves the same old stories. The fish are sluggish, the barometric pressure is off. Maybe they're just not feeding. For years, we've blamed everything but the one thing we control, the lure itself. We assume that a lure is a lure, and it performs the same way in 80-degree water as it does in 40-degree water. That assumption is what's killing your winter bite. Let's start with a scene. It's a late November morning. You see a perfect laydown, a classic winter spot. You make a perfect cast with your favorite Senko-style bait. You watch your line, expecting that subtle tick. But the lure just plummets. It sinks like a rock. There's no shimmy on the fall, no gentle quiver. It looks completely dead in the clear, cold water. That's not your imagination. That's a fact. So what's really going on? To understand, we need to talk about what 99% of soft plastics are actually made of. The main ingredient is a plastic called PVC, or polyvinyl chloride. It's the same family of plastic used for things like plumbing pipes and vinyl siding. Obviously, a fishing lure needs to be much softer than a pipe, and that's where the secret ingredient comes in. To make that hard, PVC soft and flexible, manufacturers mix it with a chemical called a plasticizer. Think of it as a lubricant. It's an oily liquid that gets between the long chains of PVC molecules, allowing them to slide past each other. This is what gives your favorite craw its flapping action and your favorite worm its seductive wiggle. More plasticizer means a softer bait. Less means a tougher, more durable one. Now for the fatal flaw. These plasticizers are extremely sensitive to temperature. As the water gets colder, the plasticizer molecules stop moving as freely. They become less effective. The PVC molecules can no longer slide past each other. Instead, they lock up, pack together tightly, and the entire bait becomes rigid. The softness, the very action you paid for, simply vanishes. There's a scientific term for this phenomenon. It's called the glass transition temperature. It is the exact point where a soft, rubbery material loses its flexibility and becomes hard, stiff, and brittle, almost like a piece of glass. Every plastic has one, and for the vast majority of soft plastic lures on the market, that temperature is shockingly high. You might think this only happens when water is at 32 degrees, right at freezing, but that's wrong. For many common lure formulas, this stiffening effect starts to happen in the 50s, and by the time the water is in the low 40s, your bait is already a shadow of its summer self. It has lost a huge percentage of its designed action. It's no longer the lure you thought it was. Let me put it another way. You're out there, layered up against the cold, focused on presenting a subtle, natural meal to a lethargic base. But from the fish's perspective, what it sees is a stiff, plastic stick being unnaturally dragged across the bottom. It has no life, no breath, no subtle quiver. It looks fake, and a winter base is not going to waste precious energy to eat something that looks fake. Now, I know what some of the old-timers are thinking. Fish are slow in the cold, so they want a bait with less action. And you know what? They are half right. The key word here is less, not none. A bait with a very subtle, natural action can be absolutely deadly in winter, but a bait with zero action is just junk. There's a massive difference. Think about what real forage looks like in cold water. A crawfish doesn't freeze solid. A dying shad still has a faint, subtle quiver. Life is subtle in the cold, but it's still there. A bait's lateral line is designed to pick up on those tiny, lifelike vibrations. It is not designed to be attracted to a frozen brick. Your lure needs to mimic life, not rigor mortis. So how can you know if your baits are failing you? There's a simple test you can do at home. Take a big bowl and fill it with ice and water. Let it get down to about 35 degrees. Now take your favorite summer worm, drop it in, and let it sit for a full 10 minutes. Then pull it out and feel it. I guarantee you it will feel noticeably stiffer. Try to bend it. It won't have that same fluid motion. Now let's talk about the solution, because there is one. You need to understand that not all plastics are created equal. A few innovative companies have solved this problem by using completely different materials that are not based on PVC. These materials are inherently soft and don't need plasticizers to work. The first and most common alternative is a material called TPE, which stands for thermoplastic elastomer. It's a type of rubbery plastic that stays soft and flexible on its own, regardless of the temperature. It has a much, much lower glass transition temperature, well below freezing. This means its action remains consistent. You've probably heard of the most famous example of this, Z-Man's ElaZtech. That material is a form of TPE. You can perform that same ice water test with an ElaZtech bait, and it will come out just as soft, stretchy, and lively as it was at room temperature. This is a massive, tangible advantage in cold water. So if this material is so great, why doesn't every company use it? There are two big reasons. First, it is significantly more expensive and difficult to work with than standard PVC plastisol. Second, and this is crucial, you cannot store TPE baits with your regular PVC baits. The plasticizers in your PVC worms will react with the TPE and literally melt it into a sticky, gooey mess inside your tackle box. Another solution exists within the world of PVC. Some smaller custom bait makers create special cold water formulas. They use different types of plasticizers, or a higher ratio of them, that are specifically designed to remain effective at lower temperatures. These are often the secret weapons of serious tournament anglers in the north. Finding these baits can be tricky. They're not usually on the shelves at your big box store. You often have to seek out these smaller, specialized brands online. They cater to the hardcore angler who understands these details and is willing to pay a little more for a bait that actually works when the temperature plummets. So from now on, your job as a serious angler is to become a materials detective. When you pick up a pack of soft plastics, especially for winter use, you need to think beyond just the color and shape. You need to ask, what is this actually made of? Is this standard PVC? Or is it a TPE-based material? Will it perform, or will it turn into a rock? So please stop blaming yourself, your electronics, or the fish on those tough, cold days. The answer might be much simpler. The problem could be dangling right there on the end of your line. Your lure is betraying you, and you didn't even know it. It's time to take a hard look at the tools you're using. Just imagine the confidence boost. You're out on the water, it's 40 degrees, and you know for a fact that your drop shot bait is down there, subtly quivering with every twitch of your rod. You know it looks alive. Meanwhile, the guy in the boat next to you is dragging around a stiff piece of plastic, wondering why he isn't getting bit. That's a real tactical advantage. This isn't just some nerdy science experiment. This is a fundamental concept that can dramatically change your success rate in the colder months. Switching to a temperature-stable plastic isn't a minor tweak. It can be the single biggest difference between a frustrating day of 0 bites and a memorable day of catching giants in the cold. So, let's bring it all home. Your most trusted soft plastic, the one you've relied on for years, probably turns into a useless brick in near-freezing water. This happens because the PVC and plasticizers it's made from get stiff as they approach their glass transition temperature. The biggest aha moment here should be this. It's not the fish that changed as much as your lure did. You thought you were using your confidence bait, but in reality, the cold had transformed it into something completely different and completely lifeless. This changes everything. It means you need a separate, dedicated winter arsenal of soft plastics made from materials like TPE or special cold water formulas. Your all-season confidence bait might just be a warm weather lie. Thank you so much for watching. If this video blew your mind a little, do me a solid and hit that like button, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss more secrets the pros don't talk about. Now I have to ask, go to your tackle box right now, pull out your favorite soft plastic, and be honest. Do you think it's been failing you in the cold? Let me know the brand in the comments below.